All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the elder bishops, the elders of Great Millstone, who rule very well, very beautifully. Double salutations unto the Akim and her pushing his gospel and truth and his sincerity to the best of their ability given to them by Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the elect scattered abroad. May the election of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord willing, fall upon your houses. This is the brother Quanah Watts from the Arizona Great Millstone Camp. Come back at you, Lord will, with the edifying lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord will. It is edifying, Lord will. It is straight to the point. And I was just thinking about that term, that Trump has, or the acronym, that Trump has, right? MAGA, Make America Great Again, and just thinking about that, man, America is on a downhill slope, right? And America is moving in that direction, very quickly, right? The elder apostle Ramlab, ultimately coined the phrase, right? Was it CTR, circling the drain, right? America is definitely circling the drain, and it's going down, man. The average, person, man, is putting up video after video, of the struggles and whatnot. The brother, I can't remember the elder's name, man, but his YouTube page is GMS Dedication, and that elder, he's always, putting out videos of, people ultimately, putting up their little TikTok or Instagram videos of them struggling, right? He'll put up the collage of those videos right together and put them up, man. And, again, it's just showing you, right, the American society, the American, dream, if you will, which the American dream never really existed. It was just that, it was a dream, but overall, right, America, right, is circling the drain and is drowning, man. So that whole term, Make America Great Again, right? It's never gonna happen, right? America will never go back to being, that top powerhouse, right, that it once was, right? Again, America still is on top, right, to a certain degree, but what the position that it was once in, right, prior to this pandemic, prior to, the housing crash in 2008, or what we're seeing even now, right? America will never go back to that, right? Just as we read right here, Jeremiah 51 and verse 8, it says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed, right? We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. That's right. So again, right, there's just proof, right, that America will never ever, right, come back, to that great, stance that it was once in, So really, MAGA, Make America Great Again, is really just bullshit. But the true term, right, in which is taking place right now, right, making Israel great again, right, that is happening, that is happening and taking place, right, as we speak, right? The Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai is making Israel great again. He's bringing America down while bringing Israel up. And I'm not talking about the land of Israel, because we understand that land, right, is inhabited, by imposters right now, man. We understand that the small hats, the Amalekites, right, the devil that the Bible speaks of, right, are inhabiting our land, right? So when I say Israel, I'm talking about the Israelites, right, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, namely the elect of the nation of Israel in this time, right? The Lord is making Israel great again, man, and I want to jump to this in Lamentations, the 3rd chapter, in the 42nd verse. It says, we have transgressed and have rebelled. Thou hast not pardoned. Thou hast covered with anger and persecuted us. Thou hast slain. Thou hast not pitied us. And again, right, we went off, as a nation, we went off. We strove against Yahweh Bashem Shai. We as a nation, right, we would rather serve, the creature rather than the creator. You know, which we see a lot of Jake's doing now, right? Jake would rather, you know, follow after Esau, Edom, and his ways and his gods, rather than following Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You know? And again, that's the reason why we're in this state. Right? Verse 44 says, Thou hast covered thyself with a cloud, that our prayer should not pass through. Thou hast made us as the offscouring and refuse in the midst of the people, right? So we're the lowest, man, right? The Lord took our heritage away, took, you know, that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding away from us at one point, right? So that we were spiritually dead. And now look, right? All the nations look at us as trash, as filth, right? And you see it every day that you walk outside, every day that you watch these videos and movies and TV shows and whatnot, you know? We're looked at as complete and utter filth, man. You know? It says all our enemies have opened their mouth against us, man. You know, but see, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right, is turning that upside down, man. Right? Well, we're ultimately coming up. Right? The Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right, is giving us, you know, or is going to give us, right, our praise and our fame back, man. He's going to give us, you know, that glory back. Like the scriptures say that had we listened and hearkened unto Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, we would have dwelt in peace forever. We would have been on top. We would have been above all nations as the Lord, you know, ultimately created us to be. You know, we would have dwelt in peace. We wouldn't be in captivity, man. You know, but we didn't want to listen. So the Lord ultimately punished us, man. Right? But see, again, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is dealing out that mercy, man. You know, I did a lesson, right, mentioning, you know, this precept right here in God, Ezra in the 9th chapter, where it talks about the Lord ultimately, you know, gave us a reviving in our captivity, you know, which will lead, right, to us being, you know, back on top, you know. And this isn't going to be a long lesson, man. I ultimately want to start right here in Zephaniah, the 3rd chapter. I'll start at verse 12. It says, Zephaniah, this whole chapter is fire. Zephaniah 3 and verse 12, it says, I will also leave in the midst of thee an afflicted and poor people, and they shall trust in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Right, we trust in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai now. Right, we are the afflicted and the poor people, man. You know, and the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is allowing us, right, to return back to our heritage, return back to, you know, them, right, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. You know, no more staying upon those that smote us, but staying upon the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? Verse 13, it says, the remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity nor speak lies, neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth. That's right, because they're going to be speaking the truth, right? That song, right? It says, for they shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid. Sing, O daughter of Zion. Shall, O Israel, be glad and rejoice with all thine heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai hath taken away thy judgments. He hath cast out thine enemy. The king of Israel, even Yahweh, is in the midst of thee. Thou shalt not see evil anymore. And soon that's going to happen, right? Soon we're going to be delivered, and there's not going to be any more violence, you know? There's not going to be any more wars. There's not going to be any more affliction, you know? We're going to be in perfect peace forever, right? It says, verse 16, in that day, it shall be said to Jerusalem, fear thou not, and to Zion, let not thine hands be slack. It says, Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, thy power is in the midst of thee. In the midst of thee is mighty. He will save. He will rejoice over thee with joy. He will rest in his love. He will joy over thee with singing, man. And again, that's coming, right? Where the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is going to wash us, right? You read that in Ezekiel, the 16th chapter. Right, where the Lord ultimately saw us, man, and we were, you know, in it and covered in blood, man. We were down and out, right? And the Lord ultimately washed us, man, you know, and clothed us, man, made us better, made us, you know, the way we're supposed to be, you know. And this is coming soon, right? The Lord has already given us, you know, this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right, which is likened unto that garment, you know. And that's the first step, right? Verse 18, I will gather them that are sorrowful for the solemn assembly, who are of thee, and to whom the reproach of it was a burden. You know? So the Lord is gathering us first and foremost, right? Through, as it says in Baruch, right? Through the word of the Holy One. Right? We're gathered together through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai by this word, right? Men all across the world, all across the globe, you know, being gathered in the spirit, man, right? Might not be physically gathered together, you know, brothers across, you know, over in Rome, brother in Australia, brothers all in Holland, all over the globe, you know, but through the spirit we're being gathered, you know, and soon, right, that physical gathering, right, when Yahweh Shai cracks the sky, right, Matthew the 24th chapter, the 31st verse, right, he's going to have the angels gather the elect from the four winds of the earth, right? That's going to be that ultimate gathering, and that's going to be what, you know, that's when that solemn assembly, right, the marriage supper of the Lamb is going to take place, man, right? That crowning ceremony is going to take place, you know. It says, verse 19, behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee, and I will save her that halteth, and gather her that was driven out, and I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame, right? So as we are, you know, the offscoring and the refusing the earth as of now, the Lord is ultimately going to make us great again. The Lord is going to give us that praise and that fame, you know. Again, starting with the elect, those who are presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice and standing stiffly for the name of Yahweh Bashim Shai on this side, no matter the circumstance. Right? Eventually, all Israel, but again, starting with the elect in these times, right, are going to get that praise and that fame. Right? The name of Israel is going to be spoken, you know, in hushed tones, if you will, you know. Kick move, you know. But, yeah, man. First and foremost, you're going to have Yahweh Shai, you know, King David, the rest of the 144,000, the rest of the elect, right? They're going to be on a whole nother, you know, Lord, will we be of that number? We're going to be on a whole nother magnitude than the rest of Israel. But even the rest of Israel, the 2/3 that come back to the loins of the elect, they're going to have praise and fame, man. They're going to be glorified, you know. The Lord is going to make the nation of Israel great again, man. Right, verse 20, it says, and at that time I will bring you again, even in that time I gather you, for I will make you a name and a praise among all the people of the earth, when I turn back your captivity before your eyes, saith the Lord. And again, that's taking place now. Right, so the process of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai making Israel great again is happening as we speak. Right, starting with Yahweh Bashim Shai waking up the elect of the nation of Israel, giving us this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You know, allowing us, right, to prove our worth to Yahweh Bashim Shai by presenting our bodies a living sacrifice, man, and doing this work. You know. So, you know, again, in this lesson was ultimately inspired by me just thinking about Esau's fucking acronym, right? M.I.G.A. You know, make America great again. Well, we're seeing the downfall of America. We're literally watching the downfall of America. There's no way that America is ever going to be great again. It's actually prophesied, you know, and Lord will, you know, I'll do a lesson on it as well. Right? It's prophesied that America's going to be destroyed by ICBM nuclear missiles, man. America will be no longer, man. But see, Israel, right? The nation of Israel, the Israelites, today will be the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigners, right? The nation of Israel is going to be made great again, man. As of right now, we're the offscouring, right? The refuse, man. We're the bottom. Soon the Lord's going to put us on top, man. And he's going to give us that praise and that fame, you know, here soon, man. You know? But that's all I got, man. I just wanted to, you know, touch on that point, man. You know, Lord will, you know, it was edifying, Lord will. It was straight to the point. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachak Wadash. Again, double honors to the elder apostles. Until next time, I say shalom.